All right, boys. This is the podcast that everybody's been waiting for. Joe Rogan's been waiting for it. Steve-O's been waiting for it. Who else?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul has been looking forward to I got to be honest. I don't even know if our mom's looking forward to this podcast. But welcome to the Creative Corner Podcast. That's how we're going to start it off. Have a really, really exciting episode today. So there's been a few shifts that have been going on in the podcast over the past couple of weeks as a few things, life events have happened, but then also just some shifts have been going on with the podcast. But this is the first official episode that I've got co-hosts with me. So Tyler and Aaron are up in this hizzy. So
what's up? What's up?
We got the co-hosts. Tyler, you alive? Are you living?
No, I am not.
But yeah, so just to give the listeners some updates on what we have going on right now. I knew from the beginning of the podcast that I wanted to have co-hosts with me, and I already knew Tyler and Aaron were the guys that I wanted because we've been friends for so long. But we have like such good conversations, whether it be about something stupid, whether it be something life-changing stuff like that. Just been able to build with these guys, and so I knew moving forward with the podcast, I would love to have them with me, and that way we can learn from each other. But also, there's been some shifts with the podcast. One, the people that have been viewing through YouTube, shout out to you guys. We still are posting there, but we would have visuals from the beginning of the podcast. I know for me personally, all the podcasts that I listen to, I actually enjoy watching. But for right now, we're going to put those on pause for the reasoning of with all the things that I personally do outside of this podcast. It requires a lot more time than I think people see. To edit a video, and so until I can hire an editor, it's just going to be audio for a little bit. But the positives of that is that I get to actually have Tyler and Aaron as co-host every week because it's not a multi-camera thing. It's not having to worry about 17 different microphones. I know it's just 3 of us, but
we can't use 17 microphones with just 3 of us.
I mean, you can. It is an option. But so those are some updates. Hopefully within the near future, visuals can come back. But anyway, all those updates aside, with the podcast, we got some life updates, right? There's been some big things. Tyler's starting a new job. That's a big
right. I got a new job. That's all the information I can give
right now. Yeah. So yeah, we keep it there for secrecy. And also your safety at your current job.
Yeah, but, very much so.
Right.
But so that's a big thing. But since the last 2 episodes were filmed prior to I just gotten married, so this is the first podcast back of being married, and so it's pretty dope. I like my wife. I like Carly a pretty good bit.
I mean, that's a positive. You look for that in marriage.
Yeah, I mean, you sure hope so.
That's one of the top things I looked for in my marriage was to make sure that I liked the person I was marrying.
Wait. You like Emily?
I mean, yeah, sometimes.
I'm just kidding.
It was just I had to make sure I liked her when I married her.
Yeah.
Afterwards is just up for debate.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's been great, man. We find ourselves at random times, like we'll be up at 2:00 in the morning, and we can just go downstairs in our house and play ping pong and do random stuff now, which is dope. It's fun to hang out. But just to talk about, here's the thing that made me a little frustrated with you guys, to be completely honest with you. At this wedding, I went in fully expecting like I cry at certain things, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not what I would consider a very overly emotional. I can be a dramatic person, but I'm not necessarily an overly emotional person. Y'all are in sync there. I didn't like that. But I was going in with the intention of, hey, I don't normally cry at like super practical. I'm the type I cry at Disney movies, and that's like it's like my peak cry. Like that's about all I do. But then Tyler was dead set. He had made this, like, written out this whole speech. He was the best man, and written out this whole speech at the wedding and was like, hey, man, I'm just letting you know, like this is going to make you cry. And what was my response to that?
Your response was, don't be upset if I don't, because I haven't been crying at a lot of stuff lately. To which I persisted. You're gonna cry at this. I promise you, it's gonna happen.
I was emotionless for the past. I'm just kidding, but we got into there's a few things. It was an awesome wedding. Like I actually enjoyed it. I would hope that I enjoyed it, but it got to the reception part of it, and Tyler comes up and does his best man speech, and then he like goes into this whole spiel. Tyler's not necessarily right now currently like the biggest public speaker, but he just goes in and he's like just talking and just chilling. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. Like, this is a really nice speech. And then he goes in and breaks down like illustrative reasons as to why, like, what life lessons Disney movies teach us. And for those of you that may or may not know, we're both big like Disney geeks. Like, ever since we were kids, we grew up on it. And so him using those illustrations, I'm like, oh, okay, this is really creative. You started going into like all this stuff. And then you got into, you brought up Fox and the Hound, and that's my favorite Disney movie. It makes me cry every time. And he talks about like the importance of like having friendships and in shifts in life, how stuff happens. And it was like, oh man, he's really starting to attack my feelings here. Well, then he brings up and that's my wife's favorite Disney movie, and he was talking about how life is an adventure and all this crazy stuff. And he's gonna make me cry thinking about it now. But it was awesome. It was awesome.
See, I did it strategically because, like you said, I'm not a big public speaker, so like I put Fox and the Hound right smack in the middle. Right. So that by that time I'd warmed up.
That's right.
And I was like, okay, now I'm comfortable speaking. I've gotten over. I'm in front of 100 people. Now I can make him cry.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And then Aaron's majestic self. He was running all the playlists and stuff, and just looking like a lioness over on the side. It was awesome. It was dope.
Oh yeah.
But it was dope.
No, I cut eyes over there to him like for half a second because he came out. Once he finished everything with all the speeches, he would like do whatever audio stuff he had to do and then kind of poke his head out behind the thing. And I poke my head over there. I see him going. I'm like, no, stop it. I need to make it through this.
I've got everybody crying.
Yeah, you got through that, and I was like, I'm sitting over in the corner bawling. Like, I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Like,
so I did good, is what you're saying.
You did.
Yes, you did.
On a scale from 1 to 10, you had a solid 6.2. That's what I would say.
I'll take it.
But yeah, it was a ton of fun. But yeah, that's a big life update on my end. This is kind of an update, but like it's as we're filming this tomorrow. Aaron has a pretty big day. Aaron, you want to talk about what you have to look forward to? You're getting married tomorrow, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm getting married with my longtime girlfriend of no one. Yeah. No, I'm having a leg surgery tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which by the time people listen to this, it's probably over with already.
Hopefully.
Probably already a cyborg.
I hope it's not a 4-day surgery.
I mean, yeah, I hope not either. Actually, I have to start some stuff tonight to make sure I'm ready for tomorrow. But yeah, tomorrow at 7 in the morning. I got to be there at 4 in the morning, so that's lovely.
Only thing worse than a leg surgery is getting up early for a leg surgery.
Right, but the good part about it is I should be home that day too.
Nice.
So just to give a little backstory as to why I'm having surgery and all that. When I was in 6th grade, I was diagnosed with a bone disease called polystotic fibrous dysplasia.
Are you speaking in tongues over there?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, so I found that out when I was like 10 or 11 about this bone disease. Had a surgery then, had another one when I was in middle school as well. It was fine until about 5 years ago. I had something happen with my left leg again. Had to have a new surgery with that. But this surgery, back in September, I fell and thought that I'd broken my leg again, but I didn't, luckily. But the doctor wants to go ahead and reinforce this leg so that it doesn't break in the future and we don't have to have another surgery.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's been an ongoing thing. Like, we've been friends now for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And so like I know that's been a big thing like ever since we've been friends, but with the surgery, like in general, like all the stuff that you've had to go through with that, I'm sure like there's some things that have been like really, really frustrating with it, or may have like really played a big role in your life, maybe in a negative way, but also what's been some like things that has taught you of like having to go through like all the things?
The things I've learned from it is that I know when something's wrong, which it's a weird positive.
Yeah.
But like I can distinctly figure out, oh, something doesn't feel right. Let me cool off.
Yeah.
And even like past that, like I know my limits and I know what I can still do like with the limits that I've had since having this bone disease.
Right. Yeah.
So, well, I've had the bone disease for my life, but since having the first surgery.
Yeah. And with that too, I think what I've really admired about you in our friendship, the roller coaster that it can be at times. What I've learned with it is you're a very like funny, sarcastic, like kind of pick at each other type of humor. But when stuff like when rubber meets the road with people, you're very much like you're on top of being there for people and like making sure that people are cared for. Would you say that like your experiences with that have played a big role in kind of the way that you work with friendships and you're kind of there for people and you're compassionate for people?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it's a little bit of transparency. During some of those surgeries, I didn't always have the best support group behind me.
For sure.
Yeah. And the support group I had wasn't the best at keeping up on me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like from that, I learned that like, no matter how small the situation, check in on people because you don't know. With me personally, with every surgery I've had, it's there's a physical battle obviously too with whatever the operation is.
Yeah.
But the thing that's messed with me most is the mental battle. I've struggled with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Just with battling with depression and anxiety, like, I've let you guys know early on when I knew I was having the surgery, and a couple other people like check in on me.
Yeah.
Because like that's the toughest thing for me was the last leg surgery I had. I was just like, if I'm being honest, I was ready to die.
Right.
Like I was so depressed at like nobody like really coming to check on me or felt like nobody cared.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's definitely changed the way I approach, my conversations with people of trying to see their side of it more so than just what I see or what's on the surface.
Yeah. And it's huge, man. And I know a lot of the way that I've seen you respond in moments like that, it's very motivating for me. And it helps kind of like check myself of making sure like, am I doing all that I can to make sure that like I am being a support system to the people around me that I care about?
Right.
Is there areas where I'm neglecting that? Is there areas where I can improve in? And so I definitely think that. So you like with that, it's a very like it's a sucky situation, and it's not fun, but also like your vulnerability with that is very motivating. Not only just with me to like making sure that I'm checking in on you, but I'm sure for other people of like, hey man, the way that Aaron sets an example for other people of like, hey, make sure that you're there for people even whenever it's it may seem like they have it all together, or it may seem like they're doing fine.
Right.
Make sure that you're reaching out, and I think that's huge.
Yeah, you can definitely tell from like just historically with people who've battled with depression and stuff, like you can't see that a lot of the times.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're good at putting on a face of they seem like they're happy about everything, and then one day something happens and you're like, well, they looked like they were fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
But yeah, so I think that's huge. And then after like post surgery, I think we've talked about it. I know the listeners may not know necessarily our friend group as well, but with that, like being able to see some people already, like that's why I love community. That's why I love the people we have around us in our lives that are willing to jump in and help in any way. You got Emily, you have Tyler's wife talking about she gonna make you some of that. What's the chicken called?
Mississippi chicken.
Mississippi chicken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Like, I'm gonna give a couple shout outs to a couple people real quick too. Just
do it, man.
Like, Rick, your father-in-law, actually, he literally since I've started quarantine, he has texted me every day. Just, hey, here's something to like keep your mind occupied.
Yeah.
Or something. And then Alyssa, you know, she's in Wilmington right now for school.
Yeah.
And she's called me like 3 or 4 times just to be just hold like a 10-minute conversation. So shout out to both of them. They've already went above and beyond just making sure I'm okay. And I haven't even had the surgery yet.
Right.
I'm just sitting at home until tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love community. I will push community all the time. And if you're listening to this and you've had bad experience with churches, or you've never been to a church, whatever, there's a stigma behind it, I'm telling you, man, you find the right fit. And I'm telling you, it's the greatest group of people you'll ever be around in your life. And if you don't have that and you're looking for it, plug Propel Church. Come hang out with us online in person.
propelchurch.com/hub online, whatever it is. It got changed a couple times.
www.propel.church. Go there. But anyway, so with that, Aaron, what's your recovery process looking like? What kind of snacks you gonna be loading down on? What kind of Netflix you gonna be binge watching? What's this next week looking like for you?
So, the first couple days, I'll be staying with my mom, just to make sure somebody's there with me to watch me, stuff like that. So whatever she cooks, I'm sure she'll cook whatever I want her to cook.
Amen.
And then I think recovery time is looking like 4 to 8 weeks, maybe closer to the 4 weeks because it's not a complete break.
Yeah.
As far as shows and stuff, we'll get to some shows here in a minute because segue, but I'm gonna be playing some video games. I'm gonna try some new games. I'm playing through a couple games that I've played before, but I'm gonna play them a little differently than I have before.
Yeah.
He's got a wicked Kingdom Hearts 3 stream going on. Well, not literally going on right now because we're doing this, but like
But then shows, I'm definitely going to be finishing up Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes,
sir.
You said 4 to 8 weeks. That gives you plenty of time to finish that up, bro. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Okay, so you can't give too much away because when this is recorded, episode 4 is out. 5 is coming out in a few days. I have not personally seen 4 yet, but I've seen 1 through 3.
I have also not seen 4 yet.
Okay,
I'm very behind.
Aaron, where are you at?
So first off, y'all are slackers. I've already seen episode 4. But then again,
I've already watched it 7 times the first day.
I've watched it twice, but then again, I've been quarantining at home for the past couple days, so I've had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on episode 4.
Yeah, I love it a lot. Like it's been a really cool show. I remember when Disney when they did D23 and they announced like all the things coming out. I mean, dead serious. Like I really love Spider-Man. Like it's one of my favorite MCU movies that's been going on. But I looked forward to this show more than anything else, and it's not disappointed me at all compared to anything. The whole storyline has been just freaking incredible so far.
Yeah, right. For me, like the Captain America movies are my favorite anyways.
Right.
In the entire MCU. So the things I like that they're doing so far, and to try to keep as many spoilers out of this up to where I'm at as possible, like it's very much telling an extended Captain America story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Through episode 3, I think we find out that another dude's been able to like recreate the super soldier serum, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's made it to where it's a little more streamlined, a little more less noticeable to know that somebody's on it,
right,
or has it. So it's super cool to see that and see the ties back to Winter Soldier and Civil War specifically, but even all the way back, there's some ties and some Easter eggs to the first Avenger as well.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool. And plus, Bucky's just one of my favorite characters in the MCU.
Right.
I love his character a lot. I know one of the last times, like a lot of us had talked, we were talking about WandaVision and stuff. And compared to that, I like this significantly better because here's the thing. WandaVision was really, really, really incredible. Like, was a great show, how it was working and building and getting to this last episode. It was going to be incredible. And then the last episode was just, to be very clear, it was just a big fat disappointment. And like, it was really, really sad. I'm excited because I know it's tying into Doctor Strange 2 and all that, like, in which I'm still excited about it. But it was annoying. Like, it was disappointing because it led up to this big fight, and the fight lasted 5 minutes, and it was a waste of time.
See, like, my big issue with the last episode of WandaVision was like, and I mean, I've told both of y'all this outside of the podcast, was like, obviously, if something, an episode or an entire series is leading into something else, like, you want to leave some questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that you keep people's interest. But like,
for sure,
with the last episode, it was like you gave us absolutely no information and
whatsoever.
We've got a million questions that are not even relatively close to answered. This is where I have a little bit of optimism with it. That's the right word, right? Yeah, optimism. Just making sure.
Yep.
We've had questions or like issues like this before with movies. We were like, there's no way this is going to happen, or this doesn't make any sense. And then we're like upset about it. And then the next thing comes out and then everything makes sense.
Yeah,
and we're like,
sure.
Oh, now I get it. You go back and watch it and you're good with it.
Yeah.
So
which
like,
is the goal.
Hopefully that's what's happening with that.
Yeah. So.
But like, I mean, with me, I'm still at this point, I still think I like WandaVision better.
Really?
Really. Falcon and Winter Soldier is fantastic.
Oh
like,
gosh.
I love how it didn't start off slow like WandaVision did.
Right.
Which, I mean, it made sense. They were kind of like making you think it was one thing and then slowly teasing
It's a lot of storyline to pull in.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, like, it jumped straight into it.
Yeah.
But it kind of stayed stagnant for me. Like, there's some growth. There's some extra stuff that you're getting story-wise. But it's like, it's not really gone super up at any point for me.
Aaron, how does that make you feel seeing episode 4?
So, one, y'all need to go watch episode 4. I promise you, Tyler will change his mind on that as soon as he watches episode 4.
We're going to do a
episode 4
part
is
2.
fantastic. So back to WandaVision real quick. For me, you know, I feel like the whole storyline they were doing with WandaVision, it was built off mystery. Like beginning of the season, we had no clue what was happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the way they wanted to end it, is because like we're dealing with like sorcery and like stuff like that, and it's all like a mystery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Scooby-Doo's gonna be.
I feel like feel like that's why they wanted to leave you with some questions.
Right.
That they're all gonna get answered in Doctor Strange. I feel like, or movies coming up soon, soon-ish. You know, relative. So I personally didn't have a problem with the end of WandaVision as most other people did. And I know that's an unpopular opinion because most people are with y'all with like the last episode was just really weird.
Yeah.
Like the way it escalated.
It was like the confusing like mystery ending. That was a little bit disappointing, but I think it was more so it was disappointing because the whole fight scene with Agatha was like you think it's going to be this huge like crazy good fight and like it's actually going to be a lot of back and forth. It was so disappointing. Like
the Vision fight was better than,
I'm telling you. Like
spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't watched that by now, but
there are, if people hadn't clicked through it by now, they're in trouble.
But kind of on your own.
But yeah, it's the whole Agatha thing was just disappointing. And then like I think because of that, it just like all the questions that you have by the end of it, it's like it makes you think, is it actually like a mystery which that's the hope, is like, oh, it's just a mystery that's going to be answered in Doctor Strange 2. But then also you're like, if they didn't put enough effort into this Agatha fight, did they really put enough effort into this storyline of like bringing clarity? But I mean, hopefully like I agree. And I think that's the route is, you know, hopefully the mystery will be answered in Doctor Strange 2 and it'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But
that's the way I've had to be with a lot of the Marvel stuff, is like, especially with this one now, it's like I have to take it at face value at what it is for now.
For now, yeah.
Whenever the next thing comes out, if it makes that better, then awesome. Yeah. But like I don't have that yet. So I just got to be hopeful for what it could be. But right now
it's not DC. It doesn't just blatantly suck.
Yeah.
Not that's a fair point with the fight. Yeah. But to compare it to Falcon the Winter Soldier, like I said earlier, Captain America is my favorite like set of movies, anyways. Yeah. So I clearly like Falcon the Winter Soldier a lot better than WandaVision was. Who's
going to be Captain America? Just prediction wise.
Yeah, I think
we didn't even talk about this dude yet.
Yeah, when Cap in Endgame gave Falcon the shield, I was like I'm glad for him, but at the same time I'm like, I really thought Bucky was going to be Captain America. Like, really thought it. But for him to give it to Falcon, I'm like, oh, okay, it's whatever. Like, he'll do fine. For some reason, like, guessing right now, I would love for it to be Bucky, but for some reason I feel like it's gonna be like some sort of like they're both Captain America, like some sort of, I have no idea how that would be, but my hope is that it would be Bucky, but even if it's like it just goes back to Falcon, I don't care. Like, it's fine.
See, that's the thing. I think it is going to be Bucky. So I'm just going off of like the whole time, very end of Endgame, moving into this series, he keeps on talking about how he gave up the shield because he didn't feel like it was his. It felt like it belonged to somebody else. But in episode 2, 3, 1 of the 3 I've watched, he had said that he realized that it belonged to Steve. It's like he still felt like it didn't belong to him. He still has that feeling, I feel like, because it's supposed to go to Bucky.
Yeah.
And I think that Steve gave it to him not necessarily for him to be the next Captain America, but that he trusted him with who would be the next Captain America.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's a good theory.
Yeah. I'm kind of with Tyler there. I think it'll be Bucky too.
I hope so.
So we didn't even talk about I'm trying to think of the word to call him because he's not Captain America. His name's John Walker.
John Walker sucks so bad. I hate him with all of my heart and want to kick him in the mouth every time I see his stupid little face come up on the screen. Sorry, I had to get that out.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So, the government gave this soldier the shield and the costume and called him Captain America.
Stupid.
He's not
this
Captain
freaking
America.
Harry Potter stepbrother looking blonde-headed idiot. I hate him so much.
Look, you don't got to disrespect Harry Potter when we're talking about this guy. It's all right.
I didn't disrespect Harry Potter. I disrespected his stupid. I hate him.
You hitting too close to home for Aaron.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Aaron. I apologize.
Right. But no, so we can dive into more of this later on. Later on as in the future completely. Yeah. But
you're co-host now. We have plenty of podcasts to talk about it.
Right. So the John Walker is the perfect soldier, right?
Right.
So he has all these medals. He has all of these different things. Well, if you go back to Captain America, the First Avenger. When Steve before the super soldier serum and all that, Steve is talking to the Dr. Erskine, and Steve asks him, "Why me?" He goes, "Because you're a good person. You're not the perfect soldier, but you're a good person."
Oh.
So that's
call back.
So that's why Steve was chosen, not because he was this great hero already,
right?
But his heart was where it needed to be to be the one to do it.
Snap.
So I feel like that's also going to foreshadow some things with John Walker that's coming up.
Because he ain't got a good heart and sucks. He's going to be a bad guy.
And to even go off that, like, then the bad guys themselves, like what are they called? The something smashers, freedom smashers,
something like that.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't appreciate that the main villain on that side is called Carly. She doesn't appreciate that at all.
Yeah.
Is that foreshadowing something in your marriage?
God, I hope not.
But see, I like the story they're telling with them too, though. It's, they're not necessarily bad guys.
No.
They're people who are just in pain and hurting.
Yeah.
If you watch,
It's like their motives are in the right place. It's just how they're handling it is a little questionable.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's more like an anti-hero type thing that they're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, I was telling Carly that the other night of like what I've loved about Marvel is they actually add personality to their villains to where it's like, oh, like you actually kind of understand, like it's not the best way to handle it, but like you think of Thanos. It's like, okay, like you're an idiot, but like it's actually, you have some substance behind it. So like the fact that they actually add some character to their villains and stuff it's always been really cool. I thought they've done a really great job with it with the MCU.
I mean, that's even like what you said before. That's what made Thanos in Endgame much more terrifying.
So
was
scary.
like he didn't have a motive at that point.
Yeah.
They've always built up their characters to have motives behind it. So whenever it's just genuine, I just hate everything.
Yeah,
it
like,
made it 10 times worse.
Infinity War, like I remember the specific scene that I was like, oh my gosh, like I was like gasping for air because of the scene, because Infinity War, he was like, he had a motive, he was pretty level-headed, he just kind of went about his thing. In Endgame, I mean, he's freaking like this psychopath, and then it gets to the scene where he's like hacking at Cap's shield, and I'm like, help him! Help him! And I'm like sitting in the theater like terrified. I'm like, is this where he dies? This is the moment where he dies. This is not the way he's supposed to go. And so I was freaking out. But yeah, Marvel does a really good job about that. But just to talk about, I know we've sat on this topic for a little bit of like kind of recapping some things we've talked about in the past. But another thing that we were pretty big on, I know the podcast where all three of us were on, we're talking about a few different things, and one of those we were just talking about different content from different artists, from different bands that we were looking forward to. And my goodness, since then we've had some big things drop.
Oh yes, very much.
You want to, Tyler? You want to talk about
Listen,
the big one?
if I hadn't talked about it in the last podcast, I just want to say that I have followed Silent Planet with their stuff. I knew because of like live stream and them teasing social media stuff that they were working on a new album. So like I knew something was coming out, and I know this ain't the thing coming out, but I was like, we got to get Silent Planet music this year. I may have also said this on the podcast. Fit for a King is my favorite band. They literally made a single where each one of them covered each other's songs and then released it.
Oh my gosh, bro. It was
so
crazy.
good.
No, listen, Fit for a King's my favorite band. I think Garrett doing Stockholm was way better than Fit for a King.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have never, even in his own music, like he'll hit those moments where he's like just, I don't really know how to describe his vocals. Like it's screaming, but it's like emotional. I don't know any other way to.
There's a lot of emotion behind screaming.
This one was just him straight showing off what he could do.
Yeah, nuts, man. Nuts. Yeah, and their merch line that came with it is wild.
Oh, like, I snagged that lavender
hoodie.
Long sleeve.
Aaron, you said you grabbed the hoodie?
Yeah, I got the hoodie. It's on the way.
It's nuts, man. I love this, like the stuff in the metal community. You've seen it like over the past year of like just bands collaborating and just making like a collaborative merch line and stuff. It's a great idea that like I'm surprised people haven't thought of it earlier, but it's been sick. And then plus too, you had Silent Planet. I think I shared this in our group chat. We have a group chat of us three called the Yeet Boys group chat. Actually, we have Yeet Boys 2.0 because Tyler got a new phone.
I had to use my email for the first one, so I got a new phone, so we got V2.
Yeah, but we got it, and I put a screenshot of it because y'all already lit it up as soon as they released the singles. But I put the screenshot, and like Silent Planet was like, hey, Ryan, the lead vocalist for Fit for a King, his wife is going through a lot of surgeries because of some stuff. And so all of the proceeds up to $5,000 that we get from this, we're going to completely give to them. I'm like, man, we're freaking gentlemen.
Look, that's what we've met at least Garrett personally. Like every show aside from one right before COVID hit, because he was already, I think he had COVID.
Sure.
But
yeah, I think
either way. They're just genuine, like big-hearted people.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, but especially Garrett. Like every time that we've talked to him, he's like, yeah, man, thanks for coming out. We love you guys, all this stuff. And then we'll like pray over you every single time that you talk to him. Every person that comes up to him.
Yeah, it's so wild. And The first metal show I ever went to had them there, which actually we'll have a guy from one of the bands that played at the show. We'll have him on the podcast in a few weeks. But I remember we were going to see For Today. It was the first metal show I ever went to, and they were like Silent Planet played like 2 or 3 bands before them, and I remember you had hyped them up. We're like, man, this band's incredible, blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. I had listened to 1 or 2 songs and but that was about it. Like I didn't listen to much of anything else. And I remember watching them perform, and I was like, it wasn't just they were good musicians. It was like there's something about them as people that's just wildly contagious, and like they just seem like incredible human beings. And I remember we went and walked up and talked to them after, like we were walking up, and like I don't remember if, like one of y'all got like merch and we're getting them signed or something, but I remember walking up to Garrett and be like, yo, I've never heard of your band before, but I just wanted to say, like, I'm wildly blown away. Like there was something really, really, really special about your set. Like not just musicianship, like you guys are just, there's something different about you guys. And he was like, he just kind of like smiled really big and just goes, it's Jesus, man. And then just comes up and hugs me really big. And so I was like, man, it's so cool. Silent Planet's such a good band, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. So like me and Tyler, like we saw him first at the first For Today show we went to.
Yeah. Was that at Motorco?
Yeah. It was me, Tyler, and DJ. It was me, Tyler, and DJ because you were gonna go, but you couldn't make it for some reason.
Yeah.
So Tyler was like, "Hey, Aaron, you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So that was the first time me and Tyler had saw him, and I think I can't speak for Tyler, but I felt the same way. I was sitting there and I'm like, there's something different about these guys.
Yeah.
Like I only have heard of For Today at that show that I went to, so I was like, yeah, cool. I'll go listen to like the 4 songs that I know from them.
Yeah.
But like Silent Planet came out and I'm like, my soul has changed. Like, I felt it in my soul.
Concert.
So yeah, there's something special. Every time I've seen them, it's even at like Warped Tour, when like me and Tyler's talked before, just amongst ourselves, like seeing a band at Warped Tour is not the same as seeing them as one of their shows.
Yeah, for sure.
But even at Warped Tour, like Silent Planet was still special. It was still something completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
To me personally, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. No, it's like that same concert at Motorco. Like I remember, and I for whatever reason, I hope Garrett sees this. I don't know if it'll happen, but I really hope he does, because I want him to know I'm sorry. But I had like 2 different experiences. Like, so I went to see For Today. That was that same thing as Silent Planet. That was the first time I had seen For Today. But like, for whatever reason, I'd never seen what any of them looked like.
Yeah.
So the first thing we got, Maddie Montgomery, we're just, me, Aaron, and DJ are sitting there talking, and then we're talking about this dude. He comes walking up, not wearing a shirt or anything. He'd just been running, all that stuff. We're like, good gosh, that's a big dude. And then he walks inside. And we're like, oh, okay, he must be doing something with the tour, with the venue or something. And then we get inside, we found out, hey, that's the vocalist for today that's just out for a run. But like, same thing, we're just sitting out there talking, and this random dude walks up, long hair, beard, all this stuff, walking around outside with no shoes on. We're like, this dude's about to come up and ask us for drugs or something. Like, I don't know what's about to happen. He's sitting there like laughing, hugging everybody. And then same thing, he walks inside. I was like, okay, whatever. And then Silent Planet comes on. We're like, hey, that's the dude that was from outside. So, Garrett, I'm sorry. I thought you were like a drug dealer or something.
Garrett, if that offends you enough, Tyler's fired. It's okay.
You just send an email. I will fire myself if it offended you. I don't want to offend him.
It's so funny. But yeah, man, that's good. And then another big one, man. I'm freaking stoked about this. You got Beartooths releasing new stuff.
Oh.
The album's about to come out, man.
Boy.
I'm telling you, man. Caleb Shomo. Oh, my gosh.
This year is going to be so good.
It's going to be bomb, man. I
remember it's great.
We talked about it on that one podcast of like, we don't know what this next year looks like. It's hopeful now.
Oh, yeah. Very hopeful. Very hopeful.
It's good, man.
Very much.
It's Aaron, you start us off. Which single has been better to you from Beartooth stuff?
I love Devastation. Both of them are fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Everything that Beartooth has released has been a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. But for me, Devastation, I like Devastation a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that's just, I like the heaviness to it. Past is Dead is good.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
It's like different.
It is a lot different. Which I'm not saying different is bad. It's just I like the other song more because of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's more familiar to you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
See that's the thing with I think The Past is Dead is better because like you said, it's different. But especially with Disease, whenever they released that, like they were different on multiple songs.
Right.
Like adding different elements, pop punk here, pop there, just different stuff. And it worked except for one song. But it worked.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it is like they're experimenting and pulling it off.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I think the good thing is I can be the tiebreaker here. I think I agree. And normally I'm the outlier of us three of like liking weird music and it going to the stuff that's normally not what we're used to. But I have to agree, Devastation is my favorite of the two singles.
Right.
It's just bomb. Both songs are great. So I'm looking forward to the whole album as a whole. It's gonna be freaking nuts.
See, that's the good thing. Whenever you got two good songs like that, we can disagree and be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I see where you're coming from. There's other stuff that we will like fist fight over, but this is fine.
We argue about this all the time. I got on this and I wouldn't say I'm off of it, but I got on this big thing at like end of 2019, beginning of 2020, where I got on this like French pop. Where like it's people that are like switching from English to French, but it's like really good pop music, and Tyler freaking hates my guts for it.
Mm-hmm. There's been multiple high up bands whenever you release like your top albums of the year, and I'm like, why the heck is that even close to up there?
I forget what I put for that year of what all was my favorite, but it was definitely that album. It was Lolo Zouai album. Shout out to her. She's not watching this podcast, but it's a really good album. I liked it a lot, and it was up in the same caliber as like metal music and stuff. I just like everything, man. I'm on this. Carly hates me for it. I'm actually on a genuine country kick right now, but not like modern country music. It's like early 2000s, late 90s, like stuff like that. And I have because I used to trash talk country music of like, it's the worst thing ever. And then I was just like, you know what? Let me go back. There were songs that I remember as a kid that I liked. And I went and just started adding a ton of stuff. And sure enough, I'd made a whole playlist that's like 15 hours long of country music. It's like, oh, crap. I can't say I hate it now.
See, I'm almost
country music is the lowest tier of music, though. Like,
techno?
It's still the lowest tier.
What?
No.
What about techno? Polka?
No, because Weird Al's in polka, so he makes up for like half of it.
Yeah, you okay.
And A Day to Remember has a techno song with Marshmello.
Dang it, you're so right.
So yeah, I will say yes, country music is like my least favorite, but kind of like you, I've been on this weird country kick, but like I've been finding new artists that's not like the stereotypical, basically pop music with a country accent.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Chris Stapleton's dope.
I love Chris Stapleton. One I found recently is Morgan Wade. Her new album is
that's right,
fantastic.
Yeah,
she was pretty good.
Yeah, and then Casey Musgraves is one that I like a lot, a newer one. But yeah, predominantly it's like early 90s stuff or late 90s stuff, early 2000s.
No shame here. I've been jamming the Taylor Swift remake of Fearless.
I still need to listen to that.
I haven't listened to any of her remade stuff at all.
See, I need to give it a chance because I didn't. I like Taylor Swift after she swapped from country for the most part. There's a couple no's
Look
here.
what you made me do.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Right.
But I didn't like Taylor Swift at all when she was country, but once she made that transition to pop, I started really liking her stuff.
Yeah, I could tolerate her country stuff. Like it was all right.
Yeah.
It was better than a lot of the other country music was out at the time too, though.
I loved Folklore when it came out. I thought that was incredible. Yeah. And I don't like Taylor Swift very much, but that album was bomb. It was really good, but it's all good stuff. If you unashamed or you also kind of like secretly like some country music, comment what you listening to, what's on your guilty pleasure playlist.
Alan Jackson.
I want to name my child Alan Jackson, and that's if she's a girl. we gotta figure out. By God, I hope I don't have kids soon. But oh gosh, I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna end up like announcing that we're having a kid. The next, but gosh, the goal is to not have kids for a few years. If for whatever reason we do, I'm not gonna be overly disappointed. But the goal is to not do that. The goal is to get a chameleon, then get a dog, and then at some point after that, then a kid can come into the equation like 5 years post that. But that's where I am right now. So I don't know. Maybe a chameleon's not a good idea if we do plan on getting a dog.
That is a horrible idea. Oh, it depends. Probably. Are you going to have it like kind of free roaming, or is it going to be in a fish tank?
Oh no. It'll be in like a aquarium case situation.
Terrarium.
Yeah, and then with a dog, like it'll be a few months before we get a dog, but it'll be in the basement. So I mean, he'll have space. So I mean, I don't know. You guys comment that, and that's where we'll come to the coming conclusion too. But but just to wrap up the podcast, since you guys are co-hosts, but we don't have a guest on today, which we will. We're still going to be very guest centered, very guest heavy onto the podcast and stuff. I think we thrive in that. I'm able to learn more, as well as we're able to give some resources to people through other guests and stuff. But anytime that it's just us three, it'll probably be us just screwing around and talking about dumb stuff. But in that, this is y'all's last opportunity to plug some of your stuff for right now. So Tyler, if people want to keep up with you outside of the podcast, what's some ways they can stay connected to you, some stuff that you have on the side, whatever. So that way they can stay in touch with you.
I'm most active on socials on Instagram. I change my name a lot because I like to take little segments of stupid things I've said. So right now you can follow me on Instagram on like comb but with a B, because I forgot how to spell comb. So there's that. And then yeah, that's actually it right now.
Yeah, that's good. And then Aaron on the side, just in case you guys don't know, Aaron is he does a lot of streaming on Twitch, and he does some games and stuff like that. So be sure to let them know how they can stay in touch with you there, as well as just with your socials in general.
Right. So my Twitch channel, like I said, I'm going to be streaming a lot while recovering from my surgery. It's twitch.tv/metalocula. That's METALOCULA. And then other than that, I'm on Instagram at @A_Gibson95. And yeah, that's the best ways to get in contact with me.
Boom. That's how you do it. Well, yeah, we thank you guys so much for jumping in to the Creative Corner podcast. If you want to keep up with pretty much everything that we'll have over here, you can go onto Instagram. It's Creative Corner Podcast. And then I started revamping my the Facebook page for it, and it's just the Creative Corner, and so you can find it there, as well as just be sure to, if you're watching on YouTube or listening through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, subscribe, leave a review if you're listening to the podcast, and be sure to keep in touch. Message us on Instagram if you want any particular guests. Be sure to tag in the comments if you have anybody you'd want on, anything like that. And just really look forward to what's to come. And so thank you guys so much for listening in, and we'll look forward to what's coming in the future. And we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.